shower, just like I came in this old world. No clothes on, just me and God, and that song playing. I want to ask you some questions before I get started. I always like to know who I'm talking to. Is anybody, and when I ask you these questions, the answer to me, my answer would be yeah. Anybody ever wondered about there being a heaven? Did you really believe it existed? I did. I wondered that for years. How many has ever doubted anybody you heard on TV talking about, I died and went to heaven? I seen bright shiny lights and went through a tunnel and all that. I did 2 to 4 years ago. How many's in favor of organ donation? Bless your heart. I am now. 4 years ago, and my wife will verify this, I was totally against it. And the reason being was I had to be on a procurement team one time where we took the organs from a body of a young boy, and there was just something about it I didn't like. And they'd asked me to sign this, and I said, no, I don't want to do that. But I was just totally against it. As a matter of fact, I was about ready to get up and walk out of the Mayo Center when I went down there, and they told me they wanted to put me on the organ donation. I said, that's not the reason I came down here. My doctor sent me down here for a TIPS procedure. And a little girl from Romania, a doctor, she told me real quick, Mr. Herring, if we do that to you, you'll have 2 weeks to live. That's how sick you are. And I got up and walked out. And when I got back to Tifton, my doctor said, you did what? He said, I sent you down there for them to do what they wanted to do. You go back down there and let them do what they need to do. And I said, okay. There's 2 reasons why I drink water. One's nervous, and the other reason is pills they give me just, I can't see, they make me perspire and make my mouth feel like it's full of sand. But what I'm fixing to carry you on is well, from 1982 until today, basically, tell you where I've been, where the Lord's carried me. I thought I was carrying myself. I didn't realize He was there all the time. I realized it, but I didn't want to appreciate it, accept it. I was doing my thing. And basically because my daddy was a preacher, I resented that. I resented him. I was always jealous. It's hard sometimes to be truthful, especially when you realize you're wrong. I was jealous of him because the church had him more time than I did, or he'd be off helping somebody else that was young when I needed him. And then you got the part of the church members, the way they treated my daddy. I had a real bad drug problem when I was young. My mama would come and get me out of the bedroom and drag me to church every Sunday. That's why I got such big ears. I was drug bound many times. When I got gone from home back in 1980, I graduated from radiology school, moved to Douglas, bought a .38 pistol, slept with it under my pillow. The reason being was I lived right in the middle of a graveyard, like them people was going to hurt me. I was singing with the Bowen family at the time. I won't never forget the day Brother Osborne come in there. He seen that pistol laying on my bed. He said, what are you doing with a pistol? And I told him. I said, I get scared out here at night. He said, what in the world? These folks ain't going to hurt you. I said, I know it, but they might make me hurt myself. I want to run whatever's hurting me. Oh, anyway. Long story made short. I hated church simply because of what I'd seen there and heard there and witnessed there. When I moved off from Douglas, the only time I went to church was when that Greyhound bus we rode in parked at one. Any other time, I just didn't go to church, period. I felt like I had gone to church enough. I had been there every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Sunday night program. If they had a special function, I was there because I was the preacher's son, had to be there. Period. No excuses. Get up, let's go. And my mother will shake her head yes to this. Sometimes I have come out the back door with belt in one hand, shoes in the other, trying to get ready. That's how much I hated going. I drove around. My daddy's favorite comment was, "Quit drag-tailing around and let's go." Had a teacher in high school, that was one of his things he used to say. "Perry, what are you dragging behind?" I was slow. I tried to play football, and I was always too slow to run the ball, so they put me on the line. I've always been slow. Try to take my time and understand what I was doing. Let me get into the meat of the sermon that I'm going to bring you this morning. Got two verses. The first one comes from Psalms chapter 37, verse 4. I'm going to read this one, and then we're going to listen to one more song, and then I'm going to read another verse or two for you, and then I'm going to get started with why we're here. Let me hear you when you found it.
34:4.
37:4.
I'm at 37.
Got three more. And then 4 down. I like to never found it. I love the way the devil works. Because when he's working, I know somebody can take care of him. I was witnessing to a boy last night in the stadium over in Tiffany. His mother had met me at Baptist Village out here last week. I was going to get me a drink of water, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder. She had run from the top of the bleachers down to catch me. She wanted me to talk to her son. He was on a thing over in Tifton where they're trying to dry him out. He's been on alcohol and drugs for about 7 years. I was right in the middle of witnessing to the boy. Man comes up between us. I don't mean kind of like this. I mean he walked right up between us. He said, "Do you mind getting out of the way where we can sing?" 4 years ago, Missy can verify this, I wouldn't have been nice. I used to have a temper. Y'all remember the Tasmanian devil that used to come on TV in the cartoon? That's the way I was. Wasn't I, Missy? I didn't care who you were. I'd tell a doctor just as quick as I tell you. I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you how mean I was. I hated life, I hated people. But I told that fellow last night, I said, "Listen," I said, "you interrupted something very important that we were doing." I said, "That boy's been on alcohol and drugs for the last 7 years, and I'm up here witnessing to him, and you butted in for your self-convenience because you couldn't see." That's all he could do. I said, "Think before you do, man." And I went back to talking to the boy. Let's read that verse. "Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of your heart." The desires of your heart, whatever it is you want. Brother Thornton back here, he probably can identify with me better than anybody. He's got a new ticker. I got a new filter. We've been to Mechanics 101. He got a new heart. One of the guys down at Mayo, he had been waiting for a heart and waiting for a heart. He was about 57 years old. He got the heart of an 18-year-old boy. I said, "Well, how do you feel?" He says, "I feel good." He said, "But I just can't get used to that sound at night when I lay down." I said, "What sound?" He said, "That boom, 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 boom." He said, "I didn't know how bad I was, so I got that new heart." I said, "Well, I bet it's rough when you see a pretty girl, huh?" He said, "Oh, we won't even go there." We won't even go there. Talk about that thing took off with it. The desires of your heart can be anything. Happiness, self-approval. That's 98% of people's problem. Being approved by the person that looks at them. That was my main problem, Missy. Not worrying about what you thought of me, but worrying about how I performed in front of you. That's the reason I got stuck in surgery for 5 years, because I tried to perfect everything I done up there. Why Booker would call me at night sometimes and say, "Get up here." I told him one time, I said, "I do believe you wouldn't operate unless I was here." He said, "I try not to." But I took pride in that scene. I loved it. And run it many a day after I left Waycross. The desires of your heart, I never knew what that really meant until I got sick. A lot of us don't know what life is until it's taken away from you. When we lived on Roanoke Drive, we had a ceiling that had little holes in it.